Hey friends, welcome. Thank you for being here with me. I am Sara-Jane Gage and I am CEO of Engage Fitness. I am a Kripalu yoga instructor and functional fitness trainer. And this is Yoga 101 featuring Camel Pose or Ustrasana. Thanks for being here. So Camel Pose is probably one of the less common poses that comes up in traditional yoga or vinyasa yoga, what most people are doing these days. And it's a really important one, so it's kind of a bummer we don't see it more often. Camel Pose is great for not just stretching the entire front of the body, the chest, the abs, the hips, the quads, the front of the legs, the tops of the feet, a little bit of calves. But it's also good for digestion, circulation, and back health. We're utilizing a gentle back bend to get some contrasting opening in the chest, but also stretching into the spine in a way that normally most of us don't move on a day-to-day basis. So let's play with it. Let's learn a little bit more. There are a lot of variations of Camel Pose, but the most common one that you probably know and recognize is on your knees, hands to the base of the spine, roll in and lean in. We'll get into that more, don't worry. But we're going to start with a standing variation first. So come on up to your feet and I'll show you what that looks like. Feet can be in line with shoulders, in line with hips. It's what feels comfortable for you if you prefer a bigger base or more narrow. Get the feet comfortable, active legs, slightly active glutes, just enough that you feel that they're there, they're turned on, they're not just kind of hanging out. And then place the heel of your hand right on those bony facet joints. You're looking for those little bony hip structures on both sides of your spine. So find the spine, bony structures, heel of the hand lands right there. Give yourself a little massage. Your adrenal glands are back there and they could always use a little love, right? So give them a little massage back there. Dig those hands in, fingertips leaning down. And then the shoulders roll down and back. And for most of us naturally, the second that the hands landed on our low back, we start to gently lean in a little bit. That's the idea. That's what you want. You want to lean in a little, but also let the shoulders melt away from your ears as you do. So what I mean is mine are dropping down and back, and then they continue to melt away from the ears. Let them melt away from the ears. Keep your chin tucked just slightly. There's a lot of bony structures in the back of your neck, and so there's no need to be cranking way back. You can lean in a little. Find where this works for you. Comfortable stretch, gentle leaning in. We're not forcing. We're not striving. You guys know this, right? So that's our first one, our standing camel. Another variation is a seated one. So if you have a chair nearby, you can check it out with a chair. And if you've done chair yoga with me before, then you've probably seen this come up in chair yoga. It's one of my favorites. I'll turn it this way so you can see real well. So everything in chair yoga starts with a seated Tadasana pose, a seated mountain pose. Similar to how when we're standing, we will almost always come from Tadasana standing, right? So you're seated Tadasana, your sits bones are engaged with the chair, they're rooted. The feet are rooted evenly through all points. Knees stacked over ankles. Knees also in line with hips. Tailbone to neutral. Because again, some of us, cough, cough me, if we let ourselves, we'll land here or we'll land here and get lazy. So find those extremes and then find that neutral middle ground somewhere in between. Belly sucks in, ribs knit down, shoulders melt away from your ears. So as you're seated Tadasana, bonus pose here. From there, we bring our hands right back behind us. Fingertips pointing towards the buttocks. Shoulders rolling down and back, lean in a little. You can hang out right there. It's a stripped down version. If you'd like a little bit more, you can grab the hands on the back of your chair, lean in a bit more there. Letting shoulders roll down and back, and maybe even pressing the heart forward this time. Take a big inhale into the shape. As you exhale, slow release out of it. Let's shift that chair out of the way and come to our mat, shall we? So for our mat-based variations and practice with this camel pose, you may appreciate having a blanket, a block or two, and a yoga strap. I'm going to show you some variations that you can play with utilizing those props and those supports. So first and foremost, we utilize our yoga blanket. And you can fold it or you can roll it, but my own preference, I like to roll it a little bit. Keep it kind of flat. And then place it right underneath the tops of your feet. So I'm going to show you a side angle here so you can see what I'm talking about. This is an opportunity to give the tops of your feet some support. And again, we're all unique, we're all individuals, right? So you need to play with where this feels right. For some of us, it's going to feel good to have the blanket right over the ankle, like right in that little crook. For some of us, it's going to feel better to have it on the feet. Play with it, find what serves you. That said, men tend to be significantly tighter through the tops of their feet, through their shins. So do play with the blanket. If it's very uncomfortable for you to be on top of your feet, whether it's camel pose or anywhere, blanket under the ankles is a really good tool to use. So place your blanket, get comfortable there. We're going to use two props in one for this demonstration. So also take your yoga block and place it just behind you, or I want to do it? Yeah, just behind you. Just behind. And let me turn. I'm going to turn my body so you can see a better angle. I feel like you're going to get a better view here from behind. All right. So my ankles are supported, my feet are supported. Options here to keep the feet in line with knees and hips. That's going to challenge your balance a little bit more. If you want less challenge with balance, bring the big toes together and the knees can even come as wide as shoulders. Okay, so that's your first variation opportunity. From here, you know, core is engaged, ribs are knit down to start, and you might place your block back behind you in between the feet to have it available for support and be able to come down onto it. Okay, so the way that we do that, mental muscle connection with those abdominals, start to slowly, let's back up. Let's bring those hands to the base of the spine, right over those bony facet joints, and then you start your slow lean in. Find where you go from here. Shoulders rolling down and back. Maybe the heart's pressing forward a little bit more actively. The chin tucks just slightly to keep your spine long and strong. And then if you'd like to take it a bit further, but you're not quite sure you can reach your feet or the floor quite yet, then grab that yoga block back behind you. And use that yoga block to press off of. And admittedly, if you put it right on top of the blanket, it may be a little bit more challenging. Mine's rocking around a little bit here. Not as stable as I might like it. You can, of course, play without the blanket or play with your placement of the block. And the great thing about blocks is they're so fancy and scientific, you can switch your height, right? So you can start with it up nice and tall, bring it down to medium, and then to low, eventually phasing out your block completely. So that's your block variation. I'm going to shift the blanket out of the way. Y'all get the idea with that one, right? If you have questions about it, let me know. I can talk about it more. I'm gonna keep the block behind me this time. I'm gonna show you a variation with the strap. This is a really great one. So, your yoga strap, belt, scarf, ladies, maybe a lightweight towel, just so it's not bunched up a ton and like in your way, but if it's a long one that you can use, grab something, make it work, okay? Bring it right back behind your neck, and then let it drape in front of the shoulders. Long pieces hanging off of both sides, okay? So we're just gonna drape it there, wear it like an accessory. It's a fun time, right? Keep that block behind you. You decide, feet in line with hips, tops of the feet pressing down, knees pressing down. Maybe there's support under the knees with a blanket if you'd like. Core engaged, hands this time. Grab your straps. So I'm grabbing them in front of my thumbs. And then I'm going to bring them back behind me to my block. And from there, it might take a little finagling. I got the buckle in the way on that one. Might take a little finagling, but now you can utilize that strap. Utilize that block for a little bit of additional support. The block lets you lean in and feel the shape of the camel. And the strap opens up the shoulders and gently helps to stretch them back. It's another reason that camel pose is so important and so beneficial is we never take that shape. We never send our shoulders back and open the chest unless we're proactive and intentional about it. Which most of us need to do more of, sadly. I'm saying it for myself too. The reality is, if we don't open up the chest, if we don't keep doing things such as this camel pose, then we're going to round. We're going to end up with that little hump in our back, the upper back. We're gonna round forward, get that beautiful hunchback of Notre Dame shape. I don't know about you, it's not really what I'm looking for as I progress in my life. So if you want to get fancy, fancier or more challenging variations, bringing the hands down to your ankles or to your feet. It's a comfort thing. It's not a right or wrong. You can bring them right down to the mat if that's available. And you can play with that one arm variation, extending back, holding. It's a lot of fun. If, for some reason, you've done all of these things, you're like, this is so easy. The next step, the most natural progression, would be to take it to your wheel pose next. So wheel pose is a more advanced, similar pose to camel. Similar benefits, similar stretching, similar shape, but a little bit more intense, a little more advanced. So we'll just show you what that looks like in case you don't know. And then I'll stop there because I could go off on a tangent with wheel. But if you want a tutorial on that, if you'd like to learn more in Yoga 101, then please do let me know. I'd be happy to do that for you and give you more detail, more information specifically about the pose and about how to work up to it. That said, I'm going to back up a little bit verbally and let you know that before starting a camel pose, you do want to warm up the front of the body and get a good stretch. Because again, we tend to be really tight there naturally, most of us. And so a cobra pose flow or an up dog pose flow to open the front of the body can be really helpful to give you access to that camel pose and to the range of motion to feel it really well. As with any practice, friends, this is about you. It's meant to support you. And while camel pose may just be one of the more technical or challenging poses, Partly, I think, because we don't see it as often, and so we're not offered the opportunity to learn it, get familiar, get better, and evolve. Keep on working on this. Don't be surprised if it's challenging. Know that that's okay. Know that that's normal. Know that it's all about the practice, right? It's not about the destination. The destination's fine, but what do you do when you get there? So what? It's about the practice. It's about the progress. It's about the process. So enjoy the process. Play with those things that we sometimes don't have time for in class. Play with the blankets. Play with the props. Play with the yoga blocks, the straps. See how it feels. Tell me about it. Tell me your experience. Tell me if you love this, you hate it. What do you want to see? Do we need a wheel pose? Do we need something else? Let me know. Till next time, friends. Be safe. Be kind. Continue choosing to be well. Do we need a tutorial on getting up with no hands? Maybe? Let me know.